What's up, everybody? Welcome to the LTC Bowling Show, where today we're going to talk a little bit about this weekend. We're going to recap the weekend. We're going to talk about some of the mental grind and some of the things that we need to focus on as far as getting ourselves into the right rhythm a little bit faster. So we'll get talking about that as well as talk about kind of results overall for the last couple of days here in a minute. Stay tuned. All right, welcome back to the LTC Bowling Show. Today we're going to talk a little bit again, like I said, about those last couple of days. I didn't have a chance to do the recap after Saturday. Probably a good thing because it probably wasn't going to be very polite. I probably was going to be pretty angry on the mic. Luckily, somebody had called me and we were chatting a little bit. Actually, it was a pretty good conversation. Somebody that wants to get involved with me in building a training center or getting a good training center built up in the Metro Detroit area, maybe even in between Detroit and Toledo or one or the other. We're not quite sure yet, but we're focused on trying to get something going. So we'll see how things pan out. Hopefully, we can get the process moving a little bit quicker because Classic Lanes is now open in Michigan, which is good. I'm just not sure how much I'm going to be able to do there because their hours are so limited now. They've changed their hours quite a bit to where basically they don't open until 6 o'clock at night most days. They're open for a small window from 9 to noon, and then they'll basically kick me out because I don't have keys to the place, and we only have access to the pro shop, and the pro shop can only be open during bowling center hours. So the problem is I need to do my work in the morning, during the day, and I really don't want to be there at the times when the pro shop's actually open for business because I don't want to take up room. I don't want to be in the way when Mason needs to drill balls for customers and stuff, and it makes it very difficult to get things done in that manner. So I'm trying to get this training center up and running as quick as possible because then I can just spend all day there doing podcasts, doing videos, drilling balls, doing reviews, doing training. I already get people that fly in from other states to come do training for a couple of days. So if I had a facility of my own where we could handle all of this, and my vision of it is actually to do, I just want 4 lanes, honestly. Two, bare minimum two, obviously, but my vision is to have 2 separate pair of lanes, one on each side of the building, and then down the middle you do the retail, and you have like party rooms and stuff or conference rooms, whichever you want to call it. Maybe even one of the rooms being more of like a daycare type area, so I can take the kids in there to play, and anybody that wants to come do some training, but they have the kids with them, they can leave the kids, in the playroom. So I think that would be kind of cool. A good little thing for the Detroit area. I know there needs to be something like that. I know Turbo's very difficult to get into with if you have kids and stuff like that. I would say, but good facility over there. Obviously, I worked there for 4 years, so it was good to be able to use that facility and get some work done over there as well. A lot of people came and saw me over there. We really built up the clientele over there. We started out when I first started there. There wasn't a whole lot of lessons flying through there. It was real every maybe 1 or 2 a week, and that was about it. Once I started the channel and started advertising it a little bit and teaching more, then it started to flood in. Then we pretty much had lessons every day of the week, pretty much all day, except for the times when I wasn't there because I was on the road for work. It was Chris basically doing all the lessons back there. Then now since I left, they've had to hire a few people to kind of take over the reins and be able to handle the volume that we created there. People still call up there, at least from what I hear. People still call up there and ask for me to see if I'm around. So I guess most people didn't, or some people didn't get the memo that I'm not there anymore. But for those of you who are now getting the memo, I'm on my own and we're doing some new things. So we're going to be opening a private training center of my own here shortly, hopefully before next summer. But anyway, so back to this weekend. Saturday was rough. I tell you what, Saturday bowling was very difficult for me. When it comes to your physical game and trying to make sure everything's up to snuff, up to par, if you don't have good ball reaction, that makes it that much more difficult because it's a mentality thing. The mentality of just staying with the basics is just focusing on execution. It's very difficult to do that when you're not sure what your ball's going to do, because now your mentality goes to, boy, okay, I need to make the ball do this. And so you start trying to make things happen. And that's when your balance gets a little bit out of whack. That's when your arm swing gets a little bit out of whack because you're trying to help it. If you're having trouble getting the ball to hook or curve down lane, you're trying to help it a little bit and you're elbowing it just a pinch, or you're thumbing it down, and you're doing these things that are not very consistent. And so you're not seeing a very consistent ball reaction. And so when you're seeing those days, it's very hard to keep everything under control. And actually, during the live stream, there were some people that were commenting on there like, man, his balance isn't like it was the other day, like last week, this and that. And they were right. They're exactly right. And a lot of it is because of I was struggling to find ball reaction that I actually, felt like I could make a decent shot and still have a chance to get to the pocket. I didn't feel like I ever had that good of a line through the lane with the right ball that would give me a little bit of miss room. I always felt Saturday like I was bowling in a closet, very, very tight. And if I didn't throw it perfect, it didn't have a chance. And that's never good. No matter what you're bowling on, no matter how difficult the lanes are or how easy the lanes are, you should always be trying to find a little bit of room for error. Whether your carry's there or not, that's a different story. That's a whole different ball game. But the first thing is trying to find a good ball that's going to match up to give you a little bit of room for error. If you can't find a ball that gives you that, and you've thrown 8 or 9 balls, or in my case, I threw all 11, you're kind of in trouble. And I was in trouble. But, I'll be honest, for real though, even though I struggled mightily, I bowled 160 and 170, bowled 170 twice. And even though with those games, I still got myself to, about minus 30, and I only ended up missing the cut by about 30 pins, so it wasn't really that bad. I just didn't put anything good enough together. I didn't grind well enough, and I think a lot of it is also a mentality that I have that I struggle with walking into those situations, walking into those tournaments. I expect to bowl well, and I expect to bowl better than everybody else. And I know that sounds conceited. I know that sounds arrogant, but it's true. I walk in expecting to win. I walk in expecting to beat the brains out of everybody in there. And when it starts out rough, you start to press a little bit, and your grind mode kind of goes down the drain, and now you're looking for 250 ball reaction when you shouldn't be. So I bowl 160, 170. I come back and make a little bit of a ball change and move right, and I bowl 230 with a couple of bad breaks in that game. Could have been 250, which even that wouldn't have mattered at the end of the day. And I follow that right back up with 170 again. And it was so pair to pair. The ball reaction I had for that 230 just was not there after that game. So it was a real struggle trying to get the ball to do the right thing. And then the last game I bowled 210, just basically trying something completely different, using different bowling balls in the same part of the lane, but trying to make the adjustments. And I did a pretty good job the last game. I think I bowled 210, which got me back to 30 under. I think I was almost 50 under. But nevertheless, it was not a very good day. Lost money in brackets. Didn't win any money. It was a $500 loss. We'll just call it that. It's frustrating. But then I knew I had another event coming the next day, and I would be able to redeem myself, and which I did. So I actually went into that next event just saying, you know what, we're not making the same mistake. We're not going to go in there looking for 250. And scores were higher, and people were, I think the cut after game one was like 245, the top 16. So there's 16 people that bowled 240 or better. And it was frustrating. Anybody that watched the live stream knows I was real frustrated that first game. I bowled 219, and I didn't strike on the right lane until the 8th frame. I finally doubled, and then I get up on the left lane in flat 10. And that's the worst feeling. When I strike every time on the left lane, finally catch a strike, I trip a 4-pin on the right lane to catch a double. I get up on the left lane and throw in what I think is fairly okay in flat 10, which that 3-bagger, that then gives me, if that one strikes, I shoot 230 instead of 210. But that's the way it goes, and that's kind of how the rest of the day pretty much went for the most part. But I didn't let it get me the most of the time. Even though I struggled with carry, I left 5 stone 8 pins. Just put that into perspective there. 15 games, I left 5 stone 8s. Now, a stone 8's pretty rare as it is, but I left 5 of them in 15 games. So that's, that's saying I still wasn't, my ball motion wasn't quite right. I left an awful lot of 10 pins, an awful lot of switch sevens, and through the day, the lanes got to, I don't want to call it league. It was like an over dramatic league where there was a flood in the middle, and they started to get a little bit dry to the right. And so getting your ball to go through the pins in the middle of the lane was difficult. And for those of you watching on YouTube, you're seeing on the screen, just some of those shots from the Final Four, last 3 games of the Final Four, and how deep everybody was. Ronnie's lofting the cap from game 1 there, and his ball motion was great. He did all the right things. He was using an IQ2 or Nano Pearl through the whole time. I think he switched to a Sonic or a Supersonic, one or the other. It was either a Sonic or a Super. I think it was a Sonic. He switched to that either the end of game 2 or the beginning of game 3. But he pretty much ran away with it. He ended up, winning by like 90 pins. It was a total pinfall race. We started those last 3 games. I was third, 60 pins out, and I ended up second, only 90 some pins out, I think, or almost 100. So. I grinded as much as I could. I bowled a 250 game in the 3rd game of the round of 8 to even make the top 4. So it was a big game. Jordan Richards was bowling with me, and she could have, doubled to get to that same spot. So it was basically a fight between me and her. Once Dan Higgins actually missed, and Andrew Anderson bowled 180, so we were able to get around him and some of the other people to get there. And Dan actually snuck into the top 4. AJ Rice bowled 279 that last game to get to 5th by, I think it was by a single pin. So the first hit in the 10th for Dan was pretty big. Otherwise, AJ's bowling in that final 4 match. And AJ won the day before. AJ won on Saturday, and then he bowled well again on Sunday. So he's showing that he's getting much better on the more difficult patterns. He's not just that house bowler, because he crushes the league stuff. He absolutely dominates any of the easier patterns. He runs them over. So, and he was really the only lefty that bowled well on Sunday. Most of the lefties, struggled. So hats off to AJ. Kudos to him. He's getting a whole lot better on that side, being one of the best, if not the best, left-handed two-hander. I think it's going to be a battle between him and Justin Knowles as to who the best two-hander is on the left side. So, you used to have guys like Cassidy Schaub, who was pretty good on the left side. I don't know what happened to him. I don't see his name around anymore. He made Team USA and all that good jazz. So, he was definitely a really good two-handed lefty. But, we're not counting Jesper, of course, because Jesper, he's a tour player, and Knowles and AJ are more amateurs. I think Knowles has his PBA card, and he bowls the regionals and stuff, but that's pretty much all he does. He doesn't bowl a whole lot of the national stuff. But either way, both of them are very, very good bowlers. Both of them are very solid two-handed players. But yeah, it was a grind, and I was pretty happy with how things went on Sunday. I was disappointed with, some of the moves I made. I couldn't figure out how to get the ball to go through the pins better. I bowled 187 game 3 of the round of 16 on a pair that was crazy. It was a really good game I bowled, and it was a clean 187 and without a single double. But I had a couple 6 counts and 7 counts on shots that I'm like, why in the world didn't this ball hook? And when I tighten the angle up, it overhook. I'd open the angle up, and it would never hook. It was just one of those things, one of those pairs that it ended up being like that. And actually, game 3 of the last round of the round of 4 was the same way. All of a sudden, my ball either never hooked or hooked too much. So I bowled a couple of good games, 230, and then I bowled 2-0 the last game, just really struggling to get the ball to do the right thing. But at that point, I was 70 pins down going into that 3rd game. So there wasn't a whole lot I could do other than shoot 270 or better and hope Ronnie shoots 190. Obviously that didn't happen, but I hung on to second by 30 or 40 pins or whatever it ended up being. But I held on to second for a little bit of money there, made up for the first day. Made the money back that I lost and then some, so that's always a bonus. So it was a good weekend overall. Pretty happy with the performance of what I did on Sunday to make up for Saturday. It's very difficult to come off of a bad day and end up bowling better the next day. So I think I'm getting back to where I was when I actually was good at this game. I'm starting to get there anyway. So next weekend we're bowling a regional, and it's EJ's regional. So we're bowling that regional over at in Bluffton, Indiana, where EJ owns the center. Him and his dad and his brother, well, his family, I guess I should say, owns that. And for those of you who don't know, there is a Motive VIP sale. So that new bowling ball, that VIP that's coming out October 14th, is the release day for the EJ exclusive bowling ball. It is EJ's first name brand bowling ball for himself. Or Bowler X is actually doing a sale on this over at bowlerx.com. You can get the bowling ball, you get a T-shirt, and then an autographed card from EJ himself for $151.95. Now that's a pretty good deal right there. That gets the ball out to you, and you can get it get it drilled at any shop. Hopefully, bring it up here to Classic Lanes if you're up here. Take it over to MRB Classic Pro Shop, or if you're in the Toledo area, go see Keith Nestbaum. He'll take good care of you. But that's a pretty good deal. So make sure to head over to bowlerx.com and get that bundle deal today. It's going to be, I'm sure those will sell out fairly quick. They're doing pre-sales over there right now. Make sure to head over there. But for those of you on YouTube watching right now, make sure to hit that subscribe button and the like, comment, all that good stuff. Hit the notification bell so that way you get notifications of all the videos and all the live streams and everything we do here. Those of you on the podcast, Anchor's been throwing my podcast up on different avenues now, different platforms. You got Spotify, we've got Google, we got Android, Apple, and a couple other ones they just set it out there on now. So we're starting to build this thing, going to get it going a little bit. So thank you for listening, thank you for paying attention. Make sure to follow along. Tomorrow we're going to do a little bit more chat about bowling. We'll see what the topic's going to be. I'm not quite sure. We'll look at the bowling news and see what we have going on over there. But for today, I appreciate everybody following along and watching. We're going to get out of here. Until next time, guys, I'm out of here. We'll see you later. Take care.